April in Paris. It's perfect.
Oh, it's. How about I Love Paris? But that's good. April in Paris.
Yeah, well, I Love Paris you can start using after
next
this.
year.
Yeah, exactly. This one you got to wait another year. But other than that...
All right, thank you for thinking of me. Good
Absolutely.
morning, everybody. This is Milton Paris, president of Getting Ahead in Business. We're a consulting, marketing, and sales company, and what we do is we accomplish our client goals and everything. So I just want to get in. We got our special guest. He comes on a regular monthly contributor, Thomas Ploskonka, PA, CPA, and I want to get him on. But first, if you're not doing anything this afternoon, come over to our third annual business meet and greet at Sunny Palace. It's today between 11:30 and 1:30. It's 12 o'clock. I'm sorry, it's 11:30 to 1:30. It's $12 per person. Sunny Palace, 1069 Route 18 South. It's East Brunswick, of course, New Jersey. You don't have to RSVP. Come on. We expect a big crowd, and it's really, the food is great. Great restaurant, great place. Also, if you can't make today, which I'll be disappointed, come over the first annual business meet and greet at the Robert Wood Johnson Fitness and Wellness Center with Getting Ahead in Business, Monday, May 4th at 5:30 to 7:30. It's 1044 U.S. Highway in East Brunswick. It's 08859. It's at the conference room. And it's going to super buffet served by Colchester and Aberdeen and Freehold. And we're giving away a lot. All those attending will receive a 2-week pass to RWJ Fitness and Wellness Center, plus discount passes for movies, car wash, and bowling when you go to eat at Colchester. So it's $15 a person, and you could RSVP at 732-306-0040 or Milton at Getting Ahead in Business. Okay, we want to turn our attention and get your pencils and paper out because the gentleman is going to come on, is going to give us a lot of information. You don't have to go to the library. And if you need a tax expert, this is the gentleman. Good morning, Thomas.
Milton, how are you doing this morning?
Everything is fine.
Beautiful day.
Every day's a beautiful day. You know that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, for you, it's a double beautiful day. You could go early and play golf.
Well, that's a possibility today, you know. It
Okay.
looks like today's the day, I think.
All right, I'm sure when we finish our program, you're going to say, that's it, you worked, and you're going to go on to the golf course.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to talk about today. April 15th is kind of come and gone, and now what do we have to do? Well, some people could have gotten an extension to do their taxes, and that goes to October 15th for a personal tax return. But the big picture is the second item on my list, which would be identity theft. Now, all during tax season on radio, newspapers, TV, you've heard about identity theft from different media. Excuse me. So what happened was last year I had like one person that had an identity theft problem, and the year before it was one. Now this year I had 3. So we have to be extra careful about what we're doing with our Social Security numbers and our tax returns and our tax information. What happens is we send the return in electronically, and we get a notice back that says it's bouncing out, it's rejected. So what we have to do, and if that's the case with anybody out there, is that you have to fill out a form for identity theft affidavit. And you have to file your tax return in paper. But the identity theft affidavit asks for the reason why you're filing it, the name of the taxpayer, phone number, driver's license, Social Security card, and you have to sign this and send it to a special address wherever you happen to be living at the time. So we have to be extra careful because it seems to be here to stay because they had one, now 3. Who knows how many more that are going to come up. And what you need to do is once you file this identity theft, you can ask for a PIN, a identity protection PIN. It's a 6-digit number that the IRS gives to you and only to you, which you would put on your tax return. And it's like a backup of your Social Security number. So that if you file and you get this PIN number, you have to put it on. Otherwise, you'll still get rejections on your tax return. But it's an extra level of protection to file your taxes, so you're protected.
All right, Tom, stay with us. We got a break for our good partners.
Sure.
We'll be right back.
No problem.
It's Alan for Bert at 8:29. Getting ahead in business. We are back with Milton Paris.
Before we get back to Tom, I just want to mention that if people call in while I'm on, and if they mention what my slogan is, what I'm known for throughout the world, we're going to give away a lot of dinner at Court Jester. A lot of values for two people to come for dinner, a value of $35 a couple. So the first two people who call in, and then we got Subway giveaways, so we got a lot of giveaways. It's that kind of day. We're giving away a lot of things, and we're going to get back to Tom.
All righty. So that's right now. People call in right now?
They have to call in right now.
732-545-9282.
Okay, and then we'll get back to Tom.
All righty.
Okay.
Cool. Be right back. 1450 WCTC time. It's 8:30. And we're back. It's Alan in for Bert on Jersey Central. And we are in the midst of course, as we do every Wednesday at this time, getting in business with our good friend and a business guru, maven, the guy who knows his stuff when it comes to business, Milton Paris, along with his guests, PACPA, Tom Ploskonka. And gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Tom, I guess you went out with all those commercials. You could have played a round of golf.
I'm getting ready.
Okay.
Getting ready.
Tom, tell us about amending your tax return.
Well, I don't know if people know or not, but occasionally things happen, mistakes happen, and you can go back and amend your tax return for 3 years. For example, I recently had a client come in and give me a 1099, which is a broker statement, and said my broker gave me this statement like April 20th, and we already filed this tax return. And we had to file this amended paper return and send it into the IRS. It was a small amount of money due, but we decided, and he wanted to do this, is to send in this amended return. It's called a 1040X to fix the problem. And it's available to anybody that needs to fix the problems that they may have with filing their taxes. We also had someone else recently that never took their RMD, required minimum distribution. Now, they took one in 2011, but they forgot 12 and 13. And the big problem with this RMD is that there's a 50% penalty. So if you forget to put this on your tax return, say it's $10,000, you could wind up with a $5,000 penalty for not putting it on your tax return. So we had to file the amended returns for 12 and 13 separately. And with there's some reasonable cause reasons why these penalties can possibly be abated. And the last one in terms of amended returns, that a fellow a couple of years ago had a business. He had a loss, and it was never put on his 1040. So we amended his return. He got back a check for $25,000. The thing is that you have to have all your paperwork in order when you amend these returns, because for him to get his check for $25,000, they came out and looked at his documentation, tax return, make sure everything was proper, which it was, and he got a check for $25,000 on an amended tax return.
Nice. That's nice. $25,000. That's a lot of golf balls.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Tom, payment options if you owe. What are the options? Because I know a lot of people feel pressured if they owe the government X amount, and then they, instead of saving during the course of the year, they're looking to where can I get the money?
Well, there's a couple options you have there. The thing is, you make sure you file your tax return on April 15th, because there's a penalty for failure to file and failure to pay. So if you file it without the money, I say people owe money and they come in and say, I don't have the money to pay this. I say, well, we have to file it on April 15th to avoid this failure to file penalty. The failure to pay penalty, you'll probably get a small penalty plus interest the longer it takes to pay it off. Usually the government will give you 120 days to come up with the money, but they'll charge you interest. And then if you need to go out further, they have installment agreements that you could possibly work out with the government to pay it over a period of time. And the other thing would be if you really get into a jam, they have what's called an offer and compromise, that you could really plead your case that you really don't have any money and you don't expect it to be there in the future. So there's something called offer and compromise that would be available too.
Tom, I want to ask you a question. If I don't want to go down, do I have to go down, or can I send you as my tax accountant?
Yeah, no, I always represent my clients. They have to fill out a power of attorney form, and it gives me permission just for this tax issue, just for the power of attorney, is just for the tax piece, that I can go down and talk to the IRS agent, correspond with them on the client's behalf. Makes it a lot easier, less pressure for the client, less to worry about, and we handle it from beginning to end.
All right. I hope my listeners are listening, because if you have problems with the IRS, this is the gentleman you want to go see. So call him at 800-801-1099. That's 800-801-1099. Or go to his website, terrific website, Tom, Ploskonka, www.ploskonka.cpa.com. The estimated taxes, who needs to pay?
Well, there's a couple issues with estimated taxes. Certain items of income, like your salary, you can have withholding tax taken out of your salary. But things like interest, dividends, rent, royalties, there's no taxes really taken out of those items that could have you put in a penalty situation by not paying estimated taxes on the money you're receiving from these. For example, I had someone come in with dividends of $40,000 of dividends, and no withholding, no estimated taxes paid, and that's a tax problem. A fellow had bought a building, rented it. He had gross income of $10,000 a month, $120 for the whole year. A situation where he needs to pay estimated taxes. And recently, I had a few people from Pennsylvania with royalties that people were doing land leases, or utility companies were leasing property from certain people. Checks for $50,000, $100,000, and you have to pay in the estimated taxes. Otherwise, you could wind up with a penalty. Now, the federal and the state both have estimated taxes, and the strange part about it is that sometimes it's called quarterly payments, but the due dates on the payments are April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and then the following January 15th of the following year. So it's not exactly quarterly, but we give people these estimated payments to make if they have to make up for taxes that came from sources that did not have withholding tax taken out. And if you don't, you may be faced with a penalty. Back in the day, people used to say, well, I'll hold on to the money. Come April 15th, I'll send them a check for whatever I have due, and be caught up at that point. Government says, no, we want our money more frequently on these quarterly payments, so that's why they have been more strict about people making their estimated tax payments.
Think Taxes 2015. When we come back to you, Tom, we're talking to Tom Ploskonka, CPA, just a gentleman. We've worked with him for years, and people I know, many of my clients love him. When you walk in his office, you just feel comfortable. He treats you like family. 800-801-1099. It's, again, www.ploskonka.cpa.com. Don't run. We're going to be right back.
At 8:50, it's Alan for Bert, as we're getting ahead in business with, of course, Milton Paris.
Before I get back to Tom, I'd like to thank my partners, Golden Tiger Karate in North Brunswick, New Jersey, and I've also Walter Toto, a famous lawyer in Monroe Township. Also, Thomas Ploskonka, who's my guest today, Sunny Palace, where we'll be today at 11:30. Also, Funny Mix Read Ventures, your child's journey to reading begins here. And everybody needs a plumber, plumbing and heating in Edison, signs and awnings, and our friends Daniel and Chris. And if you would like to become a sponsor or come on as a guest, please email me at milton@gettingaheadinbusiness.com or go to my website, gettingaheadinbusiness.com. Remember, nothing's impossible. Tom, let me ask you, this is 2015. When should we start thinking about taxes, 2016 or 2015?
we should start thinking about taxes yesterday.
Okay.
It's time to harvest these deductions and get more money in your pocket. This is an all-year type of thing. Some people come to me in April and say, well, what do I have to do now? Well, I say it's too late. There's a few things you could do, but for the most part, it's too late. Now is the time you want to keep track of your medical, your contributions, any business deductions that you may have. This is the time to maximize your retirement account. It's now and not after the first of the year, because again, after the first of the year, it's too late. And
record keeping is a very important factor in your taxes. You have any suggestions for people who
sure.
keep?
The key is substantiation. Okay, your source receipts, your utility bills, your doctor bills, again your contributions. You need to keep these, and this is how you harvest more money in your pocket. The burden of proof is always on the taxpayer. Okay, the IRS comes in, you get a notice, people start to panic. I say, well, you got to get your receipts together and make sure you have everything that we put down on your tax return. And so as we go through this process, people start to put these things together, and they start to feel better because I keep preaching substantiation. So if you have the records, you're in good shape. If you don't, there's going to be some problems there. But again, the burden of proof is not on the practitioner, the tax practitioner. It's always on the individual, the individual who's signing that tax return. So now it's the time to keep track of those records. And whether you do it the old way, people used to come in with the old shoebox or a shopping bag with their receipts. Somehow, some way, just keep track of all those receipts during the course of the year. It'll pay off. It'll really pay off for you.
You know what? If my listeners, you got to listen. If you're unhappy with your accountant, and now's the time to sit down with this gentleman. And even if you're starting a new company, an entrepreneur, like I met someone last week, he's starting a new company, and I recommend it, Tom. And the key is to go to somebody that is reliable, honest, and he's been in the field for many, many years. So again, we're talking to Thomas Ploskonka, 800-801-1099, www.ploskonka.cpa.com. IRS warning. What is all that about?
Well, again, they've been preaching all during tax season that the IRS does not call people on the initial contact, okay, whether it be an email or a phone call. IRS will never initiate contact with you by email. And people coming to me all the time or calling me say the IRS is calling, they're threatening me. You have to be extra cautious about those emails and those phone calls because, again, it seems to be growing exponentially that these things are coming up more and more and more. So the IRS phone calls or emails, be very careful of what that's about.
Okay, Tom, does the other tax apply to you?
Well, the other thing the last thing that is on the list is really alternative AMT, alternative minimum tax. And some people get caught in this alternative minimum tax situation where they have big deductions on their itemized deductions that reduce their taxes and some other capital gains issues that reduce taxes. Well, the IRS has this in place for quite some time. And it's almost a second bite of the apple, I guess they say, where if you're smart enough to put all your tax deductions in a certain area to reduce your taxes, they call it an add back. And the special alternative minimum tax is looked at as another way to tax people if they were smart enough to put all their deductions in a certain format. So
okay.
Be aware of alternative minimum tax. You may have it may fall into your tax situation.
Okay, Tom, it's great talking to you again, and we know that whoever comes in or calls, you're going to give them 100% of your time. You're known for that. You have a terrific office in Islam,
yep.
And I want to give you a phone number again, 800-801-1099. That's 800-801-1099. And go to his website, PloskonkaCPA.com. And thank you very much, and have a good game on the course.
Thanks, Milton. Let's try to hit him straight today.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, we have a winner, Jenny in Bridgewater. She happened to know my slogan for over 40 years, nothing's impossible, and she's got a nice gift certificate for two to have a dinner at Court Jester in Aberdeen or Freehold. Thank you very much, and again, I want to thank everybody for listening, and please tune in to us next Monday. I do want to add on two sponsors that added on this week, iTech Center in Jamesburg and AJ DJ Entertainment. And also just nice people to work with, and Texas Pharmacy in Monroe, Old Bridge. If you'd like to become a partner with me or sponsor a guest, contact me at milton@gettingaheadinbusiness.com or call me at 732-306-0040. Nothing is impossible. Gettingaheadinbusiness.com. Have a great week and don't complain.
All right. Thanks, Milt. He's the best.